Greetings, my fellow freedom lovers and sovereign thinkers. Thank you for tuning into the LL3 podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy mangrove, South Florida. And today's date is Wednesday, January 22nd, 2020. Wow. January's going pretty damn quick. Nice and chilly out there. I'm at Stash, located at 109 Southwest 2nd Avenue in the heart of downtown Fort Lauderdale, adjacent with Revolution Live in America's Backyard. Yeah, so just like I said, put my feet up, kicking back. Pretty quiet. May hear some music in the background. The train passed by once in a while. Try to prevent that from happening. So exciting things are occurring, like in Virginia, nice big rally. And of course, you got the propaganda machine saying all white supremacist and extremist groups are out there. Well, there's a lot of tanned white nationalists out there, right? Extremely tanned, you could say. But very polite. Been watching a few videos on that from High Voltage Blog, I think his name is. But a few others, alternative sites, We Are Change, and it's been, they say, it's a very good vibe. Yeah, even though the people and the delegates, and of course Lord Northam, Klansman Northam, that loves pro-enslavement, wants to say it wouldn't affect their decision. Well, sorry. With all due respect and in good faith, Article 1 of the Bill of Rights, Virginia's Bill of Rights, declares it null and void. And because we're talking about the Kentucky and Virginia resolutions as well, principles, not compliant. Remember, it may be on paper, but it has to be implemented on these resolutions. Second Amendment sanctuaries, whatever you want to call it. Natural rights sanctuaries, I call it. But we'll blow back in their faces. And of course, he has some folks down here, they want to have tougher firearm laws. Want to do Trent, if you want to sell privately, you have to go through a dealership. And HB 298 by Dan Daly, whose daughter was murdered at the Stoneman Douglas massacre, which is extremely disturbing still. Won't deny that. Believes in background checks and no transferring ammunition. Well, I had to write a nice little response on his Twitter page, and Florida Politics, respectfully, HB 289 isn't valid because it violates Article 1, Sections 2, 10, and 23 of our state constitution. Not basic rights, prohibited laws are invalid, and right of privacy. I recommend everyone read the Stoneman Douglas Safety Committee report if you haven't yet. It is mind-blowing. To be very frank, I'm not really too surprised, but I'm not going to say I'm a know-it-all either. That would be arrogant, because I always like to verify my views. And there's things in there I've learned as well. So you got folks out there believe it should, I hope it passes. People with that mindset declare themselves, have announced themselves, they announced their declaration of dependency. Government, teach me how to wipe my rear end. Hold my hand. I can't govern myself. Yes. Even some of my pen pals on Facebook believe in that. And I have to laugh because my natural rights cannot be infringed. I was born with them and I value them with no exceptions. Not just that, but freedom of speech and all that as well. Bill of Rights, Declaration of Rights, compromise, nothing, because it is null and void. Of course, you got many people, like folks out in India and Pakistan, a few areas, people of faith are getting slaughtered. But some go, oh, well, they're only Muslims. It doesn't matter. I defy all forms of democide. It's unacceptable. Just a form of eugenesis. Nothing new. It had been happening for a very long time, folks. But those beautiful people out there doesn't deserve to get slaughtered, regardless. Whether it's them, Native Americans, the Africans of all walks of life around Europe. So that's the damn truth. But the people out there still want to do it. Geoengineering. Have us get distracted by garbage in the media. I'll be honest, every time I watch TV, I just laugh. It's like I was checking out the impeachment trials. When I see these groups, Adam Schiff and a few other these yodels, impeachment managers. I gotta find out when did that started, okay? Because it is pretty pathetic in my book. Because the Senate has the power. Adam Schiff has no obligation of managing them. Give me a break. The ball's in their court now. All you guys, folks, I gotta do is read Fellows Paper 65, which of course Adam Schiff and his cornball lackeys are proud illiterates, blatant, ignorant buffoons. It doesn't matter if you like President Trump or not. The principle still has to stand. None of this defense mechanism, well, they did it in the past, or the Bill of Attainder. I'm just tired of those stupid faction defense mechanized rhetoric. Grow up. So, I'll be talking a couple of things here on my show. And the first one's going to be about the war on the press. Glenn Greenwald, the next victim, is being harassed by the Brazilian government. Go figure. Government knows best. It turns to crap, right? Absolutely. And this one came from commonmindsunleashed.com, which is originally from Common Dreams. Yeah, they're progressive, but you know what? Not everything stuff down here are bad. And it says here, journalist, beyond disturbing, Brazil charges journalist Glenn Greenwald with cybercrimes. It is despicable, dangerous, and a crime against journalism. Of course. As it reads here, journalist Glenn Greenwald hit back after being charged with cybercrimes by Brazilian authorities Tuesday in connection to his reporting on corruption in the country. He said he would fight to defend the right to a free press and his right to report the truth. We are going to defend a free press, Greenwald tweeted in Portuguese. We will not be intimidated by the abuse of the state apparatus or by the Bolsonaro government. And he wrote this in Portuguese. And there's a video clip, folks. You can see it for yourself on the Twitter page. Move the charge, Greenwald, by government of President Jair Bolsonaro was quickly and forcibly condemned by progressives and journalists around the world. This is beyond disturbing, said Trevor Tim, executive order of the Freedom of the Press Foundation. Prosecutors claim that Greenwald, who lived in Brazil with his husband, David Miranda, for many years was at the center of a criminal conspiracy to hack cell phones of government officials. According to the New York Times, signing intercepted messages between Mr. Greenwald and the hackers. Prosecutors said the journalist played the clear role in facilitating the commission of a crime. For instance, prosecutors contend that Mr. Greenwald encouraged the hackers to delete archives that had already been shared with the Intercept Brazil in order to cover their tracks. Prosecutors also said that Mr. Greenwald was communicating with the hackers while they were actively monitoring private checks on Telegram, a message app. Stand with Glenn, Young Turks reporter Emma Vinglo tweeted. This is criminalization of journalism. Sounds very familiar. A la Julian Assange. Does that ring a bell, folks? Absolutely. Like them or not. This is very disturbing. As I continue here, other journalists also weighed in to show their support. Ryan Grimm, this is a correct take, even if you hate Glenn, especially if you hate Glenn. There's a time to stand up for journalism and against authoritarianism. As he got that response from Dylan Matthews. Regardless of your personal feelings about Glenn, this is a regime with deep authoritarian tendencies. Personally, targeting a critical journalist is a horrendous abuse of power that everyone should denounce. And I have to agree. Of course, Jeremy Sayil said the same thing from the New York Times. This is despicable, dangerous, and a crime against journalism. Of course, Tabitha Wallace. Journalism has been under attack around the world. Now, Glenn Greenwald is charged with cybercrimes in Brazil by their homophobic climate change denying president. You know, you could probably say climate destroyer, not climate change denier. That's like, you know, respectfully speaking. But doesn't matter. Of course, they had a little thing on Chris Hayes. This is outrageous. So, yeah, folks from the New York Times is coming out, which is good. I'm not going to crucify them on that, because at least you got to stand for what's right. Greenwald's reporting for Intercept Brazil on corruption has roiled Brazil over the past year. Minister of Justice Sergio Moro has been a frequent target of the exposés, which have been shaking publicly confidence in the Bolsonaro government. On Tuesday, the government took action after months of threatening to go more aggressively after journalists, including Greenwald. God bless Big Brother, right? Reporting the charges did not include comment from Greenwald, whose conditions and safety were unknown at press time. It's absolutely disturbing indeed. And we always gotta look out for the bigger picture, folks. This is absolutely dangerous. And people that know me on my show, I've spoken out multiple times. Did articles of some that even got arrested, captured, kidnapped, murdered, Gladio B style attacks. And this is absolutely unacceptable. You know me, like I said before, I'm never lovey-dovey when it comes to government. Not even here in the United States, including the city of Fort Lauderdale and everything else in between. It's funny because the Bolsonaro government, or Bolsonaro regime, contradicts their constitution. And as it reads here, let's see if I can find it. Ooh, yeah, where are you, baby? Yeah, Brazilian laws. Under Title II, Chapter 1, Individual and Collective Rights and Duties. And it says cute, and it says here, all persons are equal before the law without any distinction whatsoever. Brazilians and foreigners residing in the country being ensured of inviolability of life, to liberty, to equality, to security, and to property on the following items. Like it says here, Section 1, men and women have equal rights and duties under the terms of this Constitution. And 2, no one shall be obliged to do or refrain from doing something except by virtue of law. And number 4 is Section 4, the expression of thought is free, anonymity being forbidden. And I'll go down here, mural damages, to try to probably get them on that. The right of reply is ensured in proportion to the offense, as well as compensation for property or moral damages, that's 5. And of course 6, freedom of conscience and belief is inviolable. The free exercise of religious cults being ensured and under the terms of the law, the protection, place of worship, okay. The freedom of conscience right there, you can look at that. And it like says here, I'm just looking for the moment. Oh, number 8, no one shall be deprived of any rights by reason or of religious belief or philosophical or political conviction. At least he invokes it to exempt himself from legal obligation required of all refuses to perform an alternative obligation established by law. And I like number 9. The expression of intellectual, artistic, scientific, and communications activities is free independently of censorship or license. So this is a real good challenge he has. He has a strong case pertaining to this. And I'll say this here, number 10, the privacy, life, honor, and images of persons are inviolable. The right to compensation for property or moral damages resulting from the violation is ensured. And this is cute right here. We can just, a lot of things here. I'll just hit a couple more. I'll hit a few more here. And like it says here, number 12, section 12. The secrecy of correspondence and of telegraphic data and telephone communication is inviolable, except in the latter case by court order, in the cases in the matter prescribed by law for the purposes for criminal investigation or criminal procedure finding of facts. So they're trying to, it looks like the government's going to try to use that as their advantage. I wouldn't be surprised. And of course, 13, section 13, the practice of any work of trade or profession is free, observing the professional qualifications which the law that establish. And I will just hit 14. That will be it. Access to information is assured to everyone, and the confidentiality of the source shall be safeguarded whenever necessary to the professional activity. So yeah, there's plenty of other things in here. You folks can really look at it yourself. So it's going to be a constitutional challenge, I see here, because freedom of the press is guaranteed under the Brazilian Constitution, which is Title II, Chapter 1. So I will put that in my footnotes as well. So is Mr. Glenn Greenwald's fundamental rights being violated in Brazil? Yes, I can say that in good faith. It would be too obvious. And the Brazilian people will have to look at it as well. And it's funny because even if you use progressives and all that, freedom of the press is a natural right, like free speech, rights to live, as long as you don't violate others. But it looks like when it comes to the government, they wig out and have a cow, so and I try to shut him up. And I have to say, you don't have to agree with Glenn Greenwald, but he has the right to speak and release whatever he can to put the truth out. And I narrated one article from him on August 13th, 2017, which is in reference to Charlottesville when he just grilled anyone that was going after the ACLU on protecting Unite the Right's freedom of speech. It was a fantastic article. It's in my archives, too. You can look it up. Around August 13, 2017. So look at my Spreaker page. You can read the article, too. It's very powerful. And I always pay homage. I always pay him homage for that. If you violate one free speech, it affects us all. It's called the ripple effect. And no matter what country you're in. Because they could do it to all of us. It's been happening even here in the States. Okay, in the federal state level. With the anti-BDS laws. Which you can't do that. Well, piss on them, as far as I'm concerned. Because it's null and void. So, hey, support Glenn Greenwald on this matter. Honor your principles. You don't have to be best friend. But to all the journalists out there, reporters that are standing up for Mr. Greenwald, I thank you. This is really amazing. The name of the war on terror, right? War on press continues. Preserve it at all cost. All right, so we're gonna do one more here, and this is very disturbing. It came from Activist Post. Came out yesterday, if I'm correct. It says here, more than 4 times as many police officers killed themselves than were shot in 2019. It's by Matt Agarist. And as it reads here, in 2019, according to the Officer Down Memorial page, 47 police officers were shot, 7 killed in vehicular assault, and 3 died from assault. Another 77 died as a result of car crashes, heart attacks, and illnesses. Absent from the database of fallen officers, however, are the 228 cops who ended their own watch. The number is a giant leap from the year before and the 4th consecutive year that is risen. As the number of officers killed in the line of duty decreased by 20%, the number of cops taking their own lives increased 35%. The website Blue Help, which stands for Honor, Educate, Lead, and Prevent, has already recorded 5 officers' suicides in 2020. The mainstream media often portrays the unfortunate random killing of police officers as analogous to a larger war on cops. The reality is that there is a concerted public relations effort underway on the part of law enforcement with the intentions of stemming the growing public calls for more oversight and accountability. If law enforcement were genuine about wanting to save lives of their cops, they would begin by attempting to put focus on the out-of-control epidemic of police suicides, which dwarfs the number of cops fatally shot in the line of duty. Cops are killing themselves at a rate of 4 times higher than they are dying in the line of duty, and this subject seems entirely taboo. Over the past 3 decades, the number of on-duty police killings has increased substantially. Instead of attempting to fix the glaring problems in policing, law enforcement has invested itself in attempting to distract and divide the public. With the help of the mainstream media, they are attempting to portray themselves as victims of a rabid and out-of-control anti-police campaign, which is violently and systematically targeting cops, which is simply not true. If people really care about cops, that is incumbent upon them to focus on the true threats to officers' lives, and not just buy into the spin machine. The public must realize the dire situation and extreme scope of mental health epidemic currently facing law enforcement. There's an extreme high rate of suicide, a domestic violence crisis, and much higher rate of addiction in policing than the general public. It's clear that the mental health issues affecting law enforcement should be top priority if we hope to stem the number of citizens and cops being killed by police in America. In an interview with the Free Thought Project, former LAPD officer Alex Salazar pointed out why many of his friends ended their own lives. It says here, people are tired of being killed by these cops. They operate with a gang-like mentality similar to the military, in that they are pawns in a larger game, but perceive themselves as warriors for a righteous cause. Cops often turn to suicide after they lose control of their personal lives. They are taught to be control freaks and to be always be in control, and it often ends in tragedy. It's like mind control 101, a big propaganda machine to manipulate and conjure them into wrongdoing without them even knowing it. And I say this out of respect, okay? Because I have a stepfather that was, my stepfather was worked for the DEA, and he told me some crazy stories. And what's good about that, because we have great discussions on policing and all that, and I learned a lot from them, and I guess that's very cool. So when a person like myself goes after police officers, is based on their actions. Nothing more, nothing less. I'll be critical on their actions. I'll stand for my principles, but never be vindictive. You always got to look at the human element. And this says here, when I was a LAPD officer, I had at least 6 partners and supervisors included who ate their guns. This police propaganda crap is occurring because they are desperate and cops' backs are up against the wall. They will resort to any tactic or issue to use it to inflate the situation. I perceive In the not-so-distant future, some of these cowboy John Wayne types will instigate a fear-driven attack against activists. We've seen this fear-driven attack play out many times over the years. This isn't about us versus them or attacking police. It's about the necessity of purging critical sickness from U.S. police in an effort to make the streets safer for citizens and police alike. We need to start looking at this increasing rate of officer suicides and realize the underlying problems attributing to them, because we can begin to correct those problems. The cops shooting citizens rate may start to fall too. According to other experts in the field, cumulative exposure to trauma, horrific accidents, and shootings can lead to mental health struggles. That too often goes untreated. A report by Blue Health reveals the rate of PTSD and depression for police and firefighters is 5 times higher than the civilian population. A report commissioned by the Ruderman Family Foundation showed that officers' highest risk of death is by suicide, with most deaths in California and Texas. Critics believe the lack of resources for mental health also adds to lives being lost. The mental health experts say the barrier that keeps officers from seeking help are shame, fear of being off the job, and the stigma behind it. Perhaps if cops were better trained at dealing with their own mental health issues, they'd be less likely to kill those with similar problems. If you know a police officer who's experiencing this, the National Suicide Prevention Hotline can be reached at 1-800-273-8255. Police officers can also text the word BLUE, quote BLUE, to 741-741, or simply text TALK to 741-741. Sometimes you always gotta look at the bigger picture. I know too, there's some reports that even like the Anti-Defamation League train police officers. They'll fly them into Israel, be trained by them, by the IDF, which is very dangerous. You can probably look that up, and trust me, it's very intriguing. I got that from No More News, and by Adam Green. I learned it from him, and I've seen it myself. I'm like, oh my goodness. Foreign influences are dangerous to our republic, my friends, and including sending our officers to be trained more aggressively by the IDF in Israel. And the Anti-Defamation League is paying the tab. Can't emulate that. John Jay warned us about it on Federalist Papers 2-5. And I repeat this many times to my longtime listeners. The bottom line is this. Police officers are human beings. They don't know everything. And in good faith, they're not obligated to protect an individual. They do the best they can to protect and serve the public. Are all cops bastards? Hell no. I'm going to play that parody tyrannical parade. To me, that's unacceptable. I can see them more as peace officers than revenue collecting demonides. And I have friends of mine who are police officers as well. And I'm acquainted with a few of them in Fort Lauderdale. I gotta do the like human beings. I know you want to talk to them. Vigilance is key, don't get me wrong. But the human element should be added there as well. So it's never too late to be good to each other. And that will be it. I thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share us with your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, if there's something interesting you want to check out, whatever you do, please send your correspondence with decorum. In addition, I will leave the footnotes of this episode on my Spreaker page. Once again, thank you for your time. Let's always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading the love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.